Hey everybody, it's Maddie here. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make this super easy, tiny little crochet whale. This is a no-sew project. It is perfect for beginners, and you can make this in less than 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and begin. Okay, to begin making your whale, we're going to start off with a magic ring. And to make that, we're going to take the tail end of our yarn, and we're going to wrap it around 2 fingers till you have 2 loops on your fingers. And the tail should be behind those 2 fingers as well. And I'm just going to hold that in place with my thumb. I'm going to take my crochet hook and we're going to stick it through the first loop, and then we're going to grab that second loop and we're going to pull that up like this. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers and to make sure I'm pinching all that yarn together, so that way when we pull off our finger, it's not going to fall apart like this. And then from here, you don't want this whole thing to fall apart because then you're going to have to redo it. So I'm going to pinch the tail end of the yarn, and then this first loop right here, so like this area right here, I'm going to pinch that, and then you should get something that looks like this. From here, you're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1 and 2, and now you've made your magic ring. Making a magic ring can be very difficult, so if it takes you a few tries, that's okay. This is the most difficult part of the whole thing. So if you can master that, you got this. So once you've made your magic ring and you've done 2 chains, we're going to do 6 single crochets in our magic ring. And once we get a few stitches in this ring, it should hold up better than the way it is now because it's kind of still very loose. So anyway, I'm holding the loop here and then the tail as I'm crocheting. To make a single crochet, you're just going to insert your hook through the ring, yarn over, and then we're going to pull up a loop. So then we'll have 2 loops in our hook. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through both of the loops. And that's going to be 1 single crochet. Let's make 5 more for a total of 6 single crochets. Insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. There's our second one. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops like this. There's 3. I'm going to go ahead and make 3 more. 4, 5, and 6. Now we have 6 single crochets. We can go ahead and tighten our magic ring. And to do that, you're just going to pull on the tail till it tightens up that magic ring. You should have something that looks like this after you've tightened it. And now we can add a stitch marker. And I'm just going to be using just a little piece of some different colored yarn so I can see where I place it. And the reason why we're going to be using a stitch marker is because these rounds are going to be worked continuously and you're not going to be able to know when you make it to the end of the round. So having a stitch marker is very, very helpful. And we're just going to place this in this spot right here. So here we have the last stitch, our long piece of yarn, which I'm going to move out of the way. I'm going to place our stitch marker right next to that last stitch. And I'm just kind of folding it to this side so it's out of the way, just like this. And now we can begin on round 2. For this round, we're going to be doing 2 single crochets in each of the stitches all the way around. And when we do 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, that means that we do an increase. So this entire round is just going to be increases on each of the stitches. So here we have the first stitch. We're going to do a single crochet in there. So insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both of those loops. There's 1 single crochet. We're going to do another single crochet in that same stitch. So insert your hook through the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So then we have 2, yarn over, pull through both loops. There's our second single crochet in the same stitch. We're going to do the same thing in this next one where we do 2 single crochets. There's 1 and 2. The next stitch we'll do the same thing. So just do 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet. And then we're just going to continue that to make it to the end of this round, which is right before we make it to the stitch marker. As you can see, I've made it to the end of the round. You do not want to go into the stitch that the stitch marker's in. We're just going to stop right before that. So from here, we can go ahead and take out our stitch marker, and then we can place it at the beginning of our next round, making sure that this long blue strand is out of the way when we place it right next to that last stitch that we made right here. And now we can begin on our next round. To begin round 3, in the first stitch, we're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets, just like we did in this last round. So we're going to do a single crochet, and then another single crochet in that same stitch, and that's going to be our increase. And then in the next stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet, just like that. The next one we'll do another increase, where we do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. There's 1 and 2. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. Just like that. And we're going to continue this pattern all the way around to make it to the stitch marker. And the pattern is just going to be an increase and then a single crochet. So I just did 1 single crochet. The next stitch, I'm going to do an increase. I'm going to go ahead and continue that to the end of this round, and then we can begin on round 4. Okay, I've just made it to the end of round 3, and I just did 1 single crochet in that last stitch. So now we're going to go ahead and take out our stitch marker and place it at the beginning of our next round, just like we've been doing. In the first stitch, we're going to do an increase, 1 and 2. In the next 2 stitches, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each, 1 and then 2. In this next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, so we're going to be doing an increase in this one. Just like that. I did 2 single crochets in that stitch. And then in the next 2 stitches, we're going to do 1 single crochet in each one. And this is the pattern that we're going to continue all the way around till we make it to the end of this round. The pattern is going to be an increase and then 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. And I'll go ahead and continue that around to make it to the end of round 4. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 4. Again, we're going to take out our stitch marker and place it at the beginning of our next round. And from here, the rows are going to be pretty simple. We're just going to be doing 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. And we're going to do that for 4 rounds. So starting in the first stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet. The next one will be 1 single crochet. The next one will be 1 single crochet, and it's pretty simple. Just do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around so you make it to the end of this round. And we're going to do that for a total of 4 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and continue this. Okay, I've made it to the end of this round, and as you can see, it's kind of starting to curl on the edges right here. You just want to push that down just like that. Okay, and then we're just going to take our stitch marker and place it at the beginning of our next round. And again, this round is going to be the same that we did in the last round, which is going to be just 1 single crochet in each of our stitches. And the last round that we did was round 5, and we're just going to be doing 1 single crochet in each of the stitches till we make it to round 8. Round 5 is done. This next row is round 6, and we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. And I'll meet up with you once we make it to round 8. Also, when you make it to the end of the rounds, make sure to move your stitch marker. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 8. You should have something that looks like this. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and take our stitch marker out as usual and place it at the beginning of our next round. This round, we're going to be making the tail and the fins of our whale. And we're going to start off by making our tail. So in this first stitch right here, we're going to be doing a slip stitch into the front loop of the stitch only. So we're just going to insert our hook through just that front loop like this, yarn over, we're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to put this loop in through here, and that's going to be a slip stitch. From here, we're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So 1, 2, and 3. So in this chain, we're going to do a double crochet. To do a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook through our chain, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So then you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2 loops, and that's going to be a double crochet. In this next chain, we're going to do another double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the chain next to the double crochet. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So there's another double crochet. In this next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet, and to do that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook through that chain, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So then you'll have 3 loops. And then we're just going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And that is called a half double crochet. In this last chain, we're just going to do a single crochet. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. So now we've made like one side of our tail. This is the tail that we're making, and we just made one side of it. So we're going to make this other side. So in the place that we did a slip stitch into at the beginning of the tail, we're just going to insert a hook through that front loop again, and we're going to do another slip stitch like this. And then we're going to chain 6 again, 1, 2, and 6, and we're going to do the same thing that we did when we made this part of the tail. We're just going to make another one. In the 3rd chain from the hook, which is this chain right here, we're going to do a double crochet, just like that. In the next chain, we'll do another double crochet. The next chain we'll do a half double crochet, and then in that last chain we're just going to do 1 single crochet. And then to finish that off, we're going to slip stitch into the same hole that we've been working those 2 tails on. So just insert your hook and pull up a loop, put this loop in through here, just like that. And then you have our little tail. In the next 5 stitches, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. So starting in the stitch right next to this area, we're just going to do a single crochet, and then in the next one a single crochet. So there's 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now we're going to be making one of the fins in this next stitch. So we're going to do a slip stitch into the front loop only again, just like the way we started this tail. So insert your hook through the front loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, put this loop in through here, just like that. And then from here we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to do a double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So 1, 2, and 3. So this chain right here, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. In this last chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook through the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 of the loops. So there's our half double crochet. And then from here, we're just going to slip stitch into the stitch that's connected to the head of our whale. So just insert your hook and do a slip stitch. So now we've made one of the fins for our little whale. In the next 11 stitches, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. So starting in this next one, we're just going to do a single crochet, and then do that in the next 11 stitches. So there's 2, 3, 4, 6, and 11. And when you look on top of your whale, we should get to the point where when we make our next fin, it should be directly across from our last fin that we made. And now we can go ahead and make another fin. So we're going to do a slip stitch in the front loop of that stitch, and then we're going to chain 4, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, so right here. And then in this next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. And then we're going to slip stitch back into that stitch. And now we've made our last fin. And then from here you should have 5 stitches till you make it to the end of this round. And in those 5 stitches, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. And 5. And now we've made it to the end of row 9. And we have our little tail and the little fins. From here, I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, and then we're going to cut off our blue yarn. We're going to pull our hook up. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then we can switch over to our white or cream yarn. I'm using cream today. You can go ahead and remove your stitch marker, and then I'm just going to tuck this tail inside the head of our whale just so it's out of the way. And now we're going to take our cream yarn or white, and we're going to attach it to this back loop right here. And this is part of the stitch that we used to make the tail, but since we only use that front loop, the back loop is still there. And we're just going to take our hook and we're going to pull that through like this. So then our cream yarn is through that loop. And then just go ahead and tie a knot. And then we're going to insert our hook through that back loop again. And we're going to pull up one of the loops. And we're going to chain 1. So now we have our cream yarn attached to our whale. Now in that back loop that we attached our cream yarn to, we're going to do a single crochet in there. So just insert your hook and do a single crochet. Just like that. Now in this round, we're just going to be working in the back loop of each stitch, and we're also going to be doing some decreases, and I'll show you how to do all that. In this next stitch, which is this stitch right here, we're going to do a single crochet in that back loop only. So insert your hook. As you can see, we have our hook through just that back loop, and we're going to do a single crochet. And now we're going to be doing a decrease, and to do that, we're going to insert our hook through the back loop of the first stitch, like this, and the back loop of the second stitch. This can be a little bit difficult, but once you figure out how to do it, it's pretty easy. So we should have the back loop of 2 stitches on our hook like this, and then we're going to do a single crochet in there. So I'm just pulling my yarn through both of those loops and then finishing off my single crochet, and that is a decrease. In the next 2 stitches, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of them, again only working in the back loop of each of those 2 stitches. So after you've worked a few stitches, it should look something like this. And now we're going to do another decrease. And this round is a little bit difficult just because we are working only in the back loops and doing decreases. But once we finish this round, the next round should be easier. This stitch and then the stitch that we have the fin in. So we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to do a decrease by inserting our hook through the back loop of the first stitch. And then since we're by that fin, there should be that back loop right behind it. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet in both of those stitches. In the next 2 stitches, we're going to do 1 single crochet in each of them, again only working in the back loop of those stitches. And then we're going to do a decrease, and then we're going to continue this pattern until we make it to the end of this round, again only working in the back loops for this entire round. And the pattern is going to be single crochet, and then decrease. Okay, so we've made it to the end of, I think this is round 10. I don't know, I've lost count at this point. You probably know what round it is. And now I'm going to place a stitch marker at the beginning of our next round, somewhere in there. For this next round, we're going to be working into the stitches like normal, so we don't need to work in the back loops only like we did in the last round. So in this next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet, just like that. In this next stitch, we're going to do a decrease. And to do a decrease when we're working in both of the loops, we're going to insert our hook through the front loop of the first stitch and then the back loop of the second, like this. And then we're going to do our single crochet in there. And that's how we're going to be doing the decreases from now on. In the next stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet, and then next we'll do a decrease. So enter your hook through the front loop of the first stitch and the back loop of the second, and do our single crochet. We're going to continue this pattern by doing a single crochet and then a decrease till we make it to the end of this round. Okay, I've just finished the end of the round, and at this point we don't really need our stitch marker anymore because we're just going to be doing decreases till we've kind of closed up this hole right here. That's what we're going to be doing in the next round, but for now I'm just going to remove my hook a little bit. We can go ahead and start stuffing our whale. You can stuff this as much as you want or as little as you want. It kind of just depends on how stuffed you like your little stuffed animals. I like mine pretty stuffed. I've stuffed my whale, and now I'm just going to put my hook back in to my loop and tighten that. And now from here, we're just going to be doing decreases all the way around till we've tightened up the belly of our whale. It doesn't really matter how many you do, we're just going to need to do as many as you can because then we'll go ahead and sew it up. So just go ahead and do decreases all the way around. And then this will just go ahead and close up our whale. This part also can be a little bit difficult. That looks about good. I did as many as I could. And now from here, we're just going to go ahead and chain 1 and then go ahead and cut your yarn. And then pull your hook up. I'm gonna go ahead and take a yarn needle. I'm gonna thread I'm just gonna thread that like this. And then I'm just going to sew up the rest of the belly. And I'm just sewing this in till, I'm happy with it. That looks pretty good. And then from here, I'm just going to stab the needle all the way through the whale till it comes up like one of the other sides. This is where I'm just going to go ahead and trim this nice and tight, and then you don't have any like extra tails sticking out or anything. And now we have the body of our whale. Now this is a no-sew project, but we are going to have to sew on the eyes and the little like pink blush, but there's no way you're going to get around not sewing that on. I'm going to start off with the eye, so I'm just taking some black yarn and I'm just cutting a good length of that. Now there are the plastic eyes that you can buy. I've never used them. I've always just sewn on my eyes, but if you have those, this could technically be a completely no-sew project, but I'm going to be sewing on the eyes. I just went ahead and thread my needle, and then you can place the eyes kind of wherever you want, but I'm going to be placing them on this second blue row, so like not this row but this row, about probably like right here. This is where I want the eyes to like go. I'm going to take my needle and place it from somewhere else on the whale and then move it to where I want the eye to start. I'm just gonna pull that through till, I just have a little tail. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sew on my eye. I like to go a couple times on it just to make sure I like the way it looks. I'm gonna do one more, and I wanna make sure the eyes are even. So I'm just gonna take my needle and put it through. to the other side, and then I'm going to sew in my eye just the way I did this one. Okay, went ahead and chopped off like the tails of the black yarn that I used for the eyes. And then for the blush, I just did the same thing that I did for the eyes, just sewed on where I want the little pink to go. And now our whale is complete. It's so cute. I love this pattern. It's so simple and easy. Plus you don't have to sew on the tail or the fins, and that makes it really fun. And it's just so cute. I mean, look at that thing. It's adorable. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give this video a like and let me know down in the comments if I'm a good teacher or not, because I still don't even know if I am. And also, if you have any questions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.